Welcome back, friends. Hope you're doing well this week. The weather is lovely outside. It's worth spending as much time as you possibly can outdoors. Today, of course, September 30th, the day that we're recording this, is Orange Shirt Day, or also the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. We had our Truth and Reconciliation service on Sunday, and we all wore orange shirts. And I am deeply grateful that we did. And I think we were able to effectively communicate a level of commitment. But we also know that one could just wear an orange shirt and have it be performative. So we tried to integrate the wisdom of First Nations into our worship service and experience, I hope, a call to action. A call to action that is perhaps at times uncomfortable, is perhaps at times laborious, but one that is overdue collectively. And I believe here at First St. Andrews, there are a number of people that have demonstrated their ability and willingness to undertake these calls to action. One of them is education about what happened and what is continuing to happen here in this land that we call home. Part of our education in this community has been journeying through a text in our book study, Bible study course. It's called Our Home and Treaty Land. And in this book, these two authors, one, an Indigenous elder, Cree, his name is Raymond Aldred, he's also an ordained Anglican priest, is in conversation with Matthew Anderson, who is a settler descendant and lives out east on the East Coast. We have a West Coast, East Coast conversation as well, speaking about the need to come to a different understanding about this land that we all call home, and which is abundant and full of life and biodiversity, but which has not always been honored and cared for the way that we are called to care for it. Also, not just as Indigenous people, but as non-Indigenous persons. You see, this community, we have origin stories as well. And in the origin stories that we sometimes read from in the biblical text, we are placed into a garden, into an abundance, and we are placed there in order to steward faithfully. Now, the history of human beings perhaps is a series of missteps at times. It is stewardship, it is falling away, and it is a call back to right relation or stewardship. So I hope that this last Sunday, and I hope today, gives you pause to think about how you're being called to do that in your own location, in your family, in your workplace, and how we can organize together. A lot of people came up last Sunday after church and shared their desire to have more of those elements included in our services more regularly. They also expressed an interest to participate actively in raising funds and identifying organizations that we can actively support and partner with. How do we facilitate that kind of intense and consistent relationship where we have each other? And some efforts have been made to that end, but it's a long road. It took a long time to get to this place, and it's going to take a long time to get out, but we can't just do nothing. We're going to have to patiently take those steps, and we're going to become frustrated, as anybody that's trying to affect change does. We will become frustrated because things aren't going to happen always when we want them to and how we want them to. But we know we're being called into right relation, and it is hard work, and it is labor, but it is fruitful. And it is a moral, spiritual obligation for us as people of faith to do just that. I also think what you'll find by making that effort is that it will transform your life. It will give you a sense of abundance and connection that you did not know you were missing and that you are surprised you could ever live without. I guess you could say that there's a way in which on the other side of this active participation and reconciliation is a kind of life that we all desperately aspire to and hope for and pray for, and it's right there. But it doesn't come without the work and the labor of relationship building and restoration. So I hope that you can take this invitation for what it is, to do that work, to reach out, to build connection, to understand where you come from, and to understand where we come from as a community of faith, and moreover, what we're being called to do here and now. Because without our example, without our witness, what about the children of tomorrow? What about the children of next year? What about the children to come? We want to create spaces, places, and a country where all children are valued, where they matter, where they are encouraged and they are lifted up. And I think we can do that. So I invite you to consider what you're being called to do this day, and I look forward to seeing you this coming weekend for World Communion Sunday.